Hello, I'm Daniel. You know what I would do if I had a time machine? And I'm not talking about going to see dinosaurs or meeting some famous king. No, I'd go back. I'd find myself in my 20s. I'd find that kid, probably in some too tight shirt, thinking he's got it all figured out. And I wouldn't say a word. I'd just hand him a single simple envelope. And inside that envelope would be one lesson. Just one. Because if I had understood this one thing back then, well, everything would have been different. Not easier necessarily, but clearer. So much clearer. And since I don't have a time machine, and you're probably not in your 20s anymore, or maybe you are, and you're just smart enough to be looking for this stuff early, I want to give that envelope to you right now. So let's talk. Just you and me. Hey, come on in. Take a seat. For the longest time, I thought life was about building a statue. Sounds strange, right? Let me explain. In my 20s, I was obsessed with building this perfect version of myself, this impressive, shiny statue. I wanted the statue to have the right job title carved on its base. I wanted it to hold the right kind of car keys. I wanted people to walk by it and nod, saying, "Wow, what an impressive statue." I spent all my days chiseling away, polishing the smile, straightening the tie, trying to make the whole thing look flawless. And I thought that was the goal, to become this finished, perfect thing, to reach a point where I could say, there, I'm done, I have arrived. But here's the painful, beautiful, eye-opening lesson I learned way too late. Life is not about building a statue. Life is about keeping a campfire burning. Let that sink in for a second. A statue is cold. It's hard. It's meant to be looked at from the outside. It doesn't change. The weather hits it and it just gets dirty or cracks. Its only purpose is to stand there and be judged. A campfire is alive. It's warm. It draws people in. You have to tend to it. Some days you need to add more wood. Some days it rains and you have to protect it with your hands. Some nights it roars, huge and brilliant, lighting up the whole forest. Some nights it's just embers, a gentle glow. But it's always alive. It's a process, not a product. And the biggest difference? You can't sit on a statue. You can't cook a meal over it. It gives no warmth. But a campfire is for gathering, for stories, for warmth on a cold night. That's what your life is for. I spent my 20s worrying about my image, my statue. I should have been worried about my energy, my fire. Let me break this down, because this changed everything for me. The first part is about where you put your attention. Statue building is all about the outside. How do I look? What do people think? Am I successful, yet am I behind? It's a constant, exhausting comparison. You're looking at other people's statues, seeing how tall they are, how shiny they are, and you feel terrible because yours seems small and dull in comparison. But fire tending? That's an inside job. You're not looking at the other fires, you're feeling your own. Is it burning? Do I have enough fuel? Is the flame bright and clear? Or is it smoking and sputtering? The questions become, what feeds my fire? What drains it? What do I love doing so much that I lose track of time? That's good wood for the fire. What makes me feel small and tired and empty? That's like throwing wet leaves on it. It just smothers the flame. In my 20s, I took a job because it made for a good carving on my statue. Senior this, manager of that. It sounded great, but the work itself, it felt like slowly pouring sand on my fire. Every meeting, every pointless report was another handful of sand. I didn't realize I was putting out my own light just for a fancy title on a cold piece of stone nobody truly cared about. The second part is about change. A statue fears change. A crack is a disaster. Fading color is a failure. A fire? Change is its nature. It's supposed to move. It dances, it grows, it shrinks. A fire that doesn't change is a dead fire. It's just ash. We're taught to see change as scary. A breakup, losing a job, moving cities. These are cracks in the statue, failures. But what if they're just the wind shifting the flames? What if that breakup, as painful as it was, blew away a bunch of dead, wet wood that wasn't burning anyway? What if losing that perfect job was the moment you finally looked up and asked, wait, what do I actually want to burn? I was so terrified of making a wrong move, of a mistake that would ruin the statue. So I stayed still. I stayed in places and situations that were long cold, just because I'd already put so much work into carving that part of the statue. I was a museum curator for my own dead sculpture. That's no way to live. The third part, and maybe the most important, is about connection. You stand next to a statue. You admire it from a distance, but you gather around a fire. You sit close. You share its warmth. Your fire connects with other fires. When you're statue building, every relationship is a transaction. Does this person make my statue look better? Can they help me carve a finer detail? It's a lonely, lonely way to be. But when you're fire tending, you're just looking for other warm, bright lights. You share your fuel. You tell stories in the glow. You don't care what their statue looks like. You care if their flame is honest, if it's kind. You protect each other's fires from the wind. I chased impressive people in my 20s, people with great statues, and I always felt less than. I was performing for them. The deepest friendships I have now, the real ones, are with people who saw my fire when it was just a single, struggling spark, and I saw theirs. We didn't admire each other's carvings. We just kept each other warm. So how do you stop being a sculptor and become a firekeeper?
So, how do you stop being a sculptor and become a firekeeper? It starts with a simple, terrifying question. You have to ask yourself, not what should I do, but what is my fuel? What makes you feel alive? Not successful, not impressive. Alive, energized, curious. For me, I had to go way back. Before the shoulds. I loved being in nature as a kid. I loved making silly videos with my friends. I loved taking long walks and just thinking. That was my fuel. Simple stuff. I had buried it under a pile of important statue building materials, spreadsheets, networking events, fancy coffee I didn't even like. I started small. I said, for 1 hour on Saturday, I will do something that feels like fuel. Just tend the fire for 1 hour. I'd go for a walk without my phone. I'd doodle stupid cartoons. And you know what? That hour felt more real, more me than the entire rest of the week spent polishing my statue. It felt like coming home. And slowly, I started to make bigger choices based on that feeling. Is this job, this relationship, this commitment, is it fuel? Or is it sand? If it's sand, you have to have the courage to stop adding it to your fire. Even if everyone else says it's good for your statue. Even if it's what you're supposed to do. Your only job is to keep your fire burning. Because a well-tended fire does amazing things. It lights your path so you can see where you're going. Its warmth attracts the right people to you. And its light can even help others find their way in the dark. That's a life. Not a cold, hard statue waiting for a storm to crack it. A living, breathing, beautiful fire. So, put down the chisel. Stop worrying about the cracks and the polish. Sit down. Feel the ground under you. What's burning in you right now? And what will you feed it with today? Okay, bye, see you next video.